Alright guys, here we are finally. Let's not jinx anything, just get into the action here. Game 2 in this best of 5, spawning here in the top left corner of Star Station. Playing for Team NvO is the blue ZOTAC.
And his opponent currently up 1-0 in this best of 5 finals. It is in the red from Acer.Nerchio.
And I don't know if you guys can picture for me real quick, like the Boromir face. I've been doing this a lot recently, and I'm sorry, this is the bad meme I'm stuck with, but like, one does not simply all-in Nerchio. It's not a player you can, I mean, of all the players who could try and do something, there's two things you don't do. You don't cheese him, and you don't all-in him. Those are two things in a mirror matchup that will just never, I've not seen in recent days work against him. It's not easy, and it's the most difficult thing to do, but you gotta play him in the late game. That's where you gotta try and overpower Nerchio. And even that's not easy.
No, was it him? I want to say that it was Nerchio, where we saw him play like those hour-and-a-half long PVZs and ZVZs, where it was just like a whole spine crawler wall that got uprooted, moved like a couple pixels, rooted again. Like, oh god, he used to have some really long games. I'm talking like November of last year.
You know, my favorite ones from Wings of Liberty time were Nerchio vs. Snoot. Those were the best DVZs you could possibly watch. I don't care about the Korean scene. I don't care about the North American scene. Well, I do, but in this instance, Nerchio and Snoot, man, they had the best DVZs for the longest time. And those are long games.
I don't necessarily remember them, but I'm going to say yes, because both of those players pretty good. They're okay. Both players also building their pool in this particular game at essentially the same time. This is one of those maps where the third base can be pretty hard to keep. Be pretty difficult to hold on to. Just depending on what your opponent decides to end up going. I mean, so far we haven't really seen anything past the lair tech out of Nerchio, so I'd be surprised if we saw him planning to do that in this game. Chtors, we really don't know a lot about.
You know, it's become more recent here in the European scene, I feel, more than any other scene, but 2-base Ultra Zord have been the most popular flavor of the month build when it comes to ZVZ. It's not a guaranteed win of a build, but you know what? That is a build, I'm just thinking here. That's a build I could see maybe winning against Nerchio.
It would be fascinating to watch. Be even better if it was like a proxy ultraless cavern.
What? You know, it was
like
only,
never gets scouted. It's like just in the random corner.
I wish I was enough into StarCraft back then to give better recompense of this, but guys, I remember seeing like some, you know, way back when videos, and some of the coolest things you would see in Brood War would be like people putting, you know, a hatchery in the middle of nowhere or whatever, just so they could hide their like spire or like these small tech things here or there. Some players even did that at the start of StarCraft 2 when I started getting into it. You know, drop Overlord creep at the top right and build a spire over there or something weird. I would be so cool, or if like ever, not even just today, but if we ever saw like a proxy hidden Dark Shrine-esque Ultra Cavern, that would be insane.
Be amazing. I've seen kind of like with spires where it's like not really at a base, but it's between bases. It kind of counts, I guess, but it's not in the same spirit of what is it doing there. But we do have that Chtors poked forward with the Zergling there, was able to see the Queen coming to low ground, that the hatchery was done. A couple of Zerglings out, so both players well aware of where the other is going in this early game. And surprise, surprise, Nerchio going with the Baneling Nest.
I'm really curious if this will be his choice to be aggression in this game, though. I mean, as stated, when he's aggressive, he's a scary force to be reckoned with, but as we also saw there in Game 1, he, with a couple defensive Banelings, can hold against a large number of Banelings.
Oh yeah, he can. It was so good, and it looks like Chtors may have learned his lesson, going to the Road Troy. Yeah, which will win.
I like that he's going for this crazy wall off too. This is really nice. This prevents the bust. I mean, if Nerchio, he's not, but if Nerchio was coming across the field right now with a Baneling all in, this Evolution Chamber wall, I mean, alone would shut it down.
Very true. Might even not lose the Queen, actually, depending on that control there. Just taking a look at the unit stat, we see 37 now workers for Nerchio versus the 38 drones for Chtors. Both players holding on to a bit of larva there for a moment, but nope, never mind. Chtors decides to drone up. What's Nerchio gonna do? He's got a few extra.
Both players going for +1/+1. Lair coming out slightly earlier for Chtors though, so I mean he's going to have that speed advantage, but if Nerchio's just fighting at home, the speed's not going to be the most relevant thing in the world.
Well, and third base is taken for Nerchio. Alright.
He does this in clear vision of Chtors too. I'm curious if this is the bait out of fight. Because again, with the slightly later speed, I mean he's only just now getting his Roach Warren up. If he can take a fight at home, he'll be the happiest guy in the world.
True, if he gets to be defensive about it. I mean, there are a lot of roaches that are on the way. Perhaps that's exactly... Chtors may be playing right into Nerchio's hands with that.
No, it's not a free win, mind you, because of course Nerchio still doesn't have his Roach Warren up, and the time it takes to make the roaches will be the same time it takes the roaches to get across the field, so... Nerchio's third base, if Chtors goes super aggressive, could be in a lot of trouble.
Epic Queen versus Overlord going on.
Overlord tends to lose that fight most times.
Oh, he might get away though. There's a ramp. Is the Queen gonna get it in time? 28 life.
Nope, but Nerchio should be able to get Chtors' his Overlord. Possessive nouns. But oh, he's actually gonna make it into an Overseer. That's pretty cool.
And Nerchio had a lot of Overlords on this path. He's been well aware that this attack's coming. That's why he pulled that Queen back. Already has some roaches kind of spread out.
He's still chancing the drones, though. I'm a little shocked he didn't pull this back, but it looks like he just wants to take this fight either way. Roach count fairly even right now, and of course Nerchio's got that home field advantage. And I mean, there's so many times where you're like, oh, home field advantage, a lot of casters talk about it. What's the importance of it? The importance of it is the reinforcements that come behind these roaches. It takes forever for Chtors to get them across the field, even with speed. Nerchio instantly going to have more roaches than his opponent at any given time when he's fighting at home.
So true. The player that's down by 20 supply can just reinforce that 20 supply again and again, and you go, well, why isn't the game over? Typically then you'd see like a follow-up of Zerglings that would work, but this is Nerchio we're talking about.
Yeah. Crazy bastard. Like, I imagine Nerchio, I know, I've seen pictures of him, I know he's not like this, but I imagine Nerchio to be this sort of like woad warrior from like 90, like the 900s, not even like 1900s, but like 900s periods of time, where he's just like got two battle axes that are like, I don't know, roaches, and he's just ready to fight dual wielding against any opponent.
Please someone draw that. Please. And now we have Chtors coming in from two different angles, trying to get the superior concave.
He will sneak faster than the natural. Ooh, gonna be driven off, actually. And Nerchio chasing with a really small... Why is Chtors not just turning around and capitalizing on these small amount of roaches?
That's actually a great question. I have no idea why. Turns out that he just didn't really want to engage yet, giving Nerchio a chance to reinforce again with roaches. Chtors overall ahead in supply, but it's not a significant difference unless you look at the worker count, 12 more for Chtors, which means that his income rate is significantly higher than Nerchio and has been for a bit now.
We'll have to see if the income comes into play, because of course with Roach Wars, it's very finicky. It's Roach Wars are the closest thing I can equate to Protoss versus Protoss, where if you lose a couple units early, you start snowballing behind very quickly.
Let's see that.
We'll have to see. Chtors, I mean, it's all about that concave. Whoever can get the better surround, who's got the positioning, even if they got less roaches, can still win those fights.
And these level 2 upgrades are going to finish for Chtors before Nerchio, so hopefully Nerchio waits for his to finish before he engages here. He is posturing, Chtors knows it, and has this great spread. So many roaches on this map right now.
Oh, but Nerchio's got to be careful. Both players engaging huge numbers. 52 to 59. The home field advantage is coming into effect for Chtors for sure. Checking the attack right now is actually fairly even, but Chtors has the +1 extra armor. Nerchio is going to be driven back, and I like that he didn't over-dedicate to this. He kind of realized, like, look, I'm going to lose this fight, albeit just barely. Let's pull back, not throw away too much, and, I mean, regrouping is his best bet. I don't know.
Yeah, it was such an inopportune moment. It was like just before his upgrades finished, and then he had pulled back before he got
Seconds
that armor
before.
upgrade. Yeah, and Chtors now though with that
but look at this,
completely
Nerchio's
max supply
Nerchio's actually baited him into fighting at his turf now. He's got a huge surround of Chtors here as well.
He gets the hug, and this is not a good concave. A lot of Chtors Roaches were not involved in that fight for a while.
Acid rain.
Oh, goodness gracious. Burrow now on the way for Chtors, who wants to be able to hide his roaches.
Someone needs to get the guy who did the Chocolate Rain song to do like the Acid Rain for like roaches, like a total StarCraft spoof. And I could just play that every time Roach vs. Roach battles happen, because that's all that it looks like. You just see green spewing left and right. It's ridiculous.
I kind of feel nostalgic, like there should be some infestors in this fight right now, and Chtors trying to find a way to get a hole down into the expansion. Looks like he wanted to perhaps snipe that hatchery, but he just can't.
This is kind of something cool going on here with the creep spread at Chtors. I'm going to express like why there's good and bad things about this. A lot of times you'll get a lot of creep spread as a Zerg player because you want the extra vision, but sometimes that can really hurt you because all of a sudden your opponent's army connects to your base a lot quicker than it would have otherwise off of creep. So it's a little interesting to me that we've had Chtors choose to spread it so much, and Nerchio, as we see here, spread it almost not at all.
It's an interesting point. It's curious to see in different matchups. I wish that all Zerg would do it more against Protoss, but Chtors is another time that we're seeing him do this against Zerg. Yes, I wish they would.
Well, no, not wanting you. Look at the amount of overlords Nerchio actually has clumped up here, like outside the watchtower. He doesn't even need the actual watchtower to have all of this vision. That burrow.
True.
Just barely. But Nerchio just needs to float an overseer over here, and that's the death of a lot of roaches.
It's a moment of it sucks to be them, but there is this attacking force moving forward.
And this is what I was worried about. With all the overlords on the other side of the field, Nerchio's actually pretty heavily supply blocked. He can't reinforce after he starts losing units right now. Alright, more overlords on the way, so not taking advantage of the fight. We have a ping coming down, I'm not sure why.
Thanks, guys.
That's what I like. When the pings make sense, it's like, oh, thank you for pinging, but oh, Nerchio has a lot of roaches on the field? I hadn't noticed that until 17 minutes into the game. Thank you for pointing that out to me.
God, there are so many roaches, though. On the map right now, we have
68 to 54. Only 11 Hydulists. I gotta say, though, Chtors, if he can get the spread, if he gets the +1 range on the Hydulists, and he can take the surround, he'll win that fight.
True, static defense is coming down for Chtors and Nerchio at basically the same time, so it looks like they're both... Oh, and actually the cancel immediately for Nerchio, who
Great Wall of Spina
cannot get back up there. So that actually means that we're going to have Chtors on, well, I'll say 3.5 bases because he hasn't saturated it yet, against Nerchio on just the 3. Both of their mains are getting low.
We finally have the infestation pits making their way on the field, though. I think both players recognizing, hey, a fungal could be pretty cool here or there, but this could also lead to hive tech. Now, neither player's gone for the melee upgrades, but even without upgrades, Ultralists are still pretty damn good. I doubt we'll see that transition. It's most likely, yeah, there we go, Pathogen Clans coming out. But also for the +3 weapons, going to make a huge difference if one player has that and the other does not. Now Nerchio sacrificing units to get some roaches out, infestors out. But a little preemptively, he's made the roaches, or sorry, the infestors a little bit too quickly. They're not going to have pathogen glands when they're spawned. That's going to suck.
They will, actually. And the Overseer did pop in there to see whether or not a hive was on the way. Saw the infestation pit was down. So Chtors is aware of that, and Nerchio more than likely assumes his opponent's doing the exact same thing as him at the moment, as there's been no more aggression. But now we have a lot of pine crawlers that are not
not on creep
under them.
Maybe
that's what that ping was earlier, as some roaches get sacrificed here by Chtors to make room in his supply.
Well, the creep team are actually now spreading the creep, but still, yeah, these spine crawlers are much lower than they should be. I don't know why he moved the overlords back. It's not like there are Hydulists at home threatening to take them out, but we actually have the Spire coming out. Will Chtors be aiming for Broodlords, I'm wondering? That would be so weird and uncategorically not effective.
Well, I mean, if you got enough of them, I guess. We have a lot of spine crawlers moving up now. It seems like both players have decided that this 4th base is where the battle will be.
Yeah, we'll have to see who's 4th base.
As I say that, Chtors decides to go around.
Look at this. This is like war on one half of the river versus the other. One player going to try and come traverse it, and yeah, look at these infestors. There's so many from Nerchio, but only about half of them have enough energy to fungal at the moment.
that Ultra Cavern is now on the way for Chtors, so it looks like he's just building the Spire maybe for...
Precautionary later on.
Yeah. The switch, if it's necessary, or if he has the opportunity to, why not?
No, the thing is, the Ultralisks, like I said before, even without upgrades, he's starting the upgrades, but even without the upgrades, are a really big deal, and I guess we're looking at extra bases. Oh, friggin' pings. I'm like the grumpy caster who's like, come on, guys. But, oh, Nerchio, he's got the Overseer following the Infestors. They don't get to sneak in there, but they do land a nice Fungal.
Very nice Fungal.
And the big thing about that Fungal is actually going to hold the army back. No, he's not going to push in. Never mind. Chitinous Plating on the way now.
It is, and all of these Infestors for Nerchio with so much energy.
This is like the most passive freaking ZVZ that's ever gotten to 22 minutes, Ord, I tell you.
I know. I mean, there's been posturing, but typically in a ZVZ, that posturing leads to Baneling explosions and things dying. But honestly, both of these players are a bit handicapped by their Roach count. They expected more of them to die. They're killing their own units here and there.
Alright, well, let's see if Nerchio can grab a terrible engagement. Again, he's got all these extra Infestors, but there's no way for him to really use them. Oh, going for a bit of a pause. None too sure.
Disappointed in his engagement angle. He's gonna go through his psych up ritual right now. Involves
we can move during the pause.
Around circle. Yeah, I always forget that too. Fourth base is on the way. No, rather, fifth base. Blah. Hive is done.
I still can't get over it. We're just looking at the creep spread right now. I mean, can we see vision on the pause screen? We can. Look at the vision that our blue Zerg player has compared to Nerchio. It's ridiculous. He's literally got 3/4 of the map under his control. Map control is everything, guys, in a ZVZ. Well, secondary to the actual engagements, I guess. But, I mean, knowing where to take the engagements, looking for these small fights here or there. I mean, these creep tumors are ridiculous.
They really are, and he's got it spread out in such a nice way that it just gives him vision of both the left and the right, so no Zergling run-bys or anything like that can occur to him. And Chtors going with the Greater Spire.
And I don't know how I missed this. We're actually going to have +3 for Chtors, where Nerchio's not even going to be starting his +3. This could actually go very poorly for Nerchio. He's got a lot of fungals. That damage is going to help a ton, but having +3/+3... oh my goodness, with maybe a couple of Broodlords peppered in with these Corruptors coming out? Ord, this is not looking good for Nerchio.
I agree, and just to run down through the units, Nerchio has 8 Hydralisk, 50 Roaches, 14 Infestors, and 3 Queens that probably won't be involved in the attack, versus the 20 Hydralisk, 43 Roaches, 7 Corruptors, 6 Infestors for Chtors, and actually the drone count has just plummeted for Chtors. He's sacrificed a lot to make room for a bigger army.
That's alright though in this situation, but Nerchio is starting to move out in the field. Fungal does catch part of his army, but look at the spines. Nerchio does not want to engage on top of the spines at all, but being forced to. And Chtors actually in this awkward situation where the Broodlords are on the way, but they're not here yet. Lots of infested Terrans going down. And there's so many spine crawlers.
Some decent fungal, a lot of things dying.
How many infested Terrans is this? We got like...
oh my goodness. That's literally 2 pages full of them. It's almost 48 infested Terran that were on the map there for a moment before.
And Nerchio's gonna... oh, he's gonna sneak right past using the infested Terrans to zone out the Hydralisks. Will snipe off the Ultralisk Cavern, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, the attack's been finished. You can rebuild. That Queen goes down as well, slipping into the 3rd base. But there are more spines here to defend. Nerchio, such a clever fucking genius. Pardon my French, guys. I can't believe he just pulled that off. I can't believe how well that worked for him.
He's going to burrow some in one location, burrow others in another location. A lot of static defense worked really well for Chtors there, who's now at like 400 minerals versus the 2k that Nerchio has.
But Chtors just invested a lot into Broodlords. More Corruptors on the way. And Nerchio actually has Hydralisks out now, which can work quite effectively against Broodlords and Broodlings. This is... I can't believe he made that work so well. Like, guys, the infested Terrans were so key to that working. Forget fungals, forget anything else. I mean, fungals, it sucks, but you wait it out, you move. But the infested Terrans, you move into those and you die. So that was the perfect zoning that Nerchio just pulled off.
And now, finally, Chtors had this Roach force down in the lower left the whole time. That never moved in. Finally is, at this point, going to get a lot of drone kills, but really, they were on 2 patches at that point.
And Nerchio with
responds easily.
Nerchio with his own Corruptors is going to have no problem dealing with Broodlords. Of course, Corruptors eat Broodlords for breakfast, but the problem is, what does he have underneath this? And that's not a lot of ground. Nerchio's invested so much into these Infestors that once they're out of energy are essentially useless units, and most of them, I mean, he's got so many Infested Terrans available again.
And now there's this little sweet spot of Broodlords who are able to get in here and start taking out this static defense.
And we're going to have that run by in the lower right corner again. Roach is going to try and deal with the hatchery coming up, but Corruptor's just moving in for the kill, getting fungled.
Nice.
But Hydra is going to be met with some Infested Terrans as well, fungal of his own.
The Infested Terran are going to be able to finish out pretty much all of these ground forces for Chitors, so he's going to have unprotected Broodlords in a moment. Corruptors actually arriving. They want to kill the Broodlords first.
Most of the Broodlords go down, only one remains, but a lot of the ground army was taken out for Chitors thanks to the Infested Terran spam of Nerchio.
Yeah.
But Nerchio's in a problem where he's barely, like, his economy is so crap because he's not been able to establish a southern base like he wants. Chitors, a whole base ahead for so long at this point. There's not a lot of workers on the field, but still, the income, we can see the disparity.
We can, and at this point, really the main composition, I guess still Roaches for Chitors, who has 29, mostly Hydralisks for Nerchio, who has 32 of those.
Man, I love the slow advance of the Spinecrawler award. It's so well done here by Chitors. This is a player who I have not heard of. You know, it's Nerchio. I thought like Nerchio was just going to clean this kid up for breakfast in the finals, but as we've seen here in Game 2, this is sick.
He's doing a great job. This is the type of game. Thank you.
Yeah, I know it's. Come on. But shan't, we are pros. We shan't let it bother us. But the Hydralisk now moving across the map.
And yeah, just to go back to the Spinecrawlers, I love the way Suppy describes it, where he says it's that kind of soul-crushing Spinecrawler movement that Zergs hate because they like being mobile and quick.
But let's see the Fungals. Who can get the better Fungals?
Kind of okay Fungal. Nice split there. Infested Terran getting thrown out in.
This is so cool. But look at the Fungals going right on top of the Infested Terrans.
They're actually going to go down with one more Fungal, and then Chitors may have the advantage. It's still really close. Both basically at 160 supply. Nerchio seeming to come out better, but Chitors does have defender's advantage because of where they are on the field. What are these?
But the defender's advantage is almost non-existent because of the lack of income currently on the field. Nerchio just needs to walk away from these Infested Terrans.
Finally does.
Oh my goodness, what a crazy battle. Both players left with almost no supply after that, but Nerchio, retaining so many of his Infestors, will come back in for round 2, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of energy left.
And this is a great little move, too, by Nerchio. He sends the Corruptors forward. He's going to find a lot of unprotected Overlords.
And if he can supply block his opponent, he'll win the game. That is so clever. Again, Nerchio making the right moves.
He's out of 146. Yes, so many Overlords. And Chitors is not making more Overlords right now.
Well, he didn't need to immediately. Now he's going to be supply blocked with these next Overlords going down, but this is actually quite devastating for our Blue Zerg player because Nerchio is now just going to be able to snowball out of control if he had the resources, but the problem is neither of these players have much mining going on for them right now.
I'm really surprised Nerchio isn't taking advantage of this time right now to take another base.
He can't afford to. He's just plain and simple, can't afford to.
And he can't afford to engage the static defense.
Oh, what a cheeky guy. We have Spinecrawler Wars versus Spinecrawler Wars! What the hell is happening? Broodlord gonna change this up, and Nerchio throwing his own Spinecrawlers forward into the Spinecrawler lines of Chitors. Ridiculous, or just ridiculous.
And there's gonna be one Broodlord who will eventually win this battle, maybe.
Mayhaps be, but unfortunately, we're kind of getting to the point now where Chitors, that supply block is really... Let's check the unit count right now. It is 10 Infestors to 17. Our Blue Zerg player has significantly more Infestors, but as chat stated, there is this one small catch where it's like, oh, I'm out of energy? Well, I guess now I'm useless. So if Nerchio can somehow power through the first Infestor wave, he'll be okay.
Chitors trying to do a pincer move here. I don't know if he actually wants to take this engagement. There's so many infested Terran. I think there's more red than blue, but it's hard to tell. I have not seen a game like this ever before in HOTS. Hydra is doing a great job with the extra range there, and they're actually able to...
But they're pushing up into the infested Terrans now. Nerchio needs to fall back a little bit till the Roaches get here. Now that the Roaches are here, he can start pushing forward and chasing the infested Terrans that have no energy. Oh my goodness, Ort, this is so disgusting. Nerchio just going to actually, I think, take the game here with this final push. If he can pick off these infestors, that's the end of the game. That's the last hope of Chitors.
Oh, and
he
there
burrows them.
Does go the burrow, and there's actually 1,100 in the bank for Chitors, so he has a chance if he can just survive this for a little bit longer and get those extra larvae out, because Nerchio still has nothing in the bank.
The Roaches coming out are just going to come in a little bit at a time. Gratz is called. GG. One more game, guys, on the way. I can't even...
That weird.
Such a good game out of Nerchio.